Okay, I'm pissed off. This is the third fucking time I tried recording this video, and it's like God doesn't want me to talk about this topic for some reason. It's very fucking weird. The first, I don't want to get out of topic, but I tried uploading. Okay, whatever. Sorry, I'm a little frustrated. Am I an outsider musician? Outsider music is basically people. Here are the traits of being an outsider musician. I want this to be quick. I don't want this to be too fucking long. You have little to no talent. You have childlike qualities. You could maybe possibly have mental issues, whether it's a mental illness, mental disability, mental disorder, some kind of something. Because there's a difference between having a mental illness and a developmental disorder like autism. Like there's a difference. However you want to categorize mental something neurodivergent. You know, that could be a possibility. That could be a trait of being an outsider musician. So again, little to no talent, mental issues, childlike qualities, and little to no awareness. Um, I'm a little bit about myself in a nutshell. I'm a 30-year-old mentally ill, mentally challenged. I'm all of that. It's very hard for psychiatrists to categorize me basically, but I've been labeled everything under the fucking sun of autism, schizophrenia, being a sociopath, antisocial personality disorder, avoidant personality disorder. I've been labeled with every fucking thing you can think of. That's why I'm edging on the possibility that I might have multiple complex developmental disorder instead, because that disorder, multiple complex developmental disorder, it's not recognized anymore, but it used to be a disorder for people that kind of just had traits of everything. I kind of just have traits of everything, you know what I mean? I have this disorder called homocystinuria, which is a mild form of Marfan syndrome, Marfan syndrome. It's like a mild homocystinuria is like a mild subtype of that. I know I'm talking fast. You can slow down the video to understand everything that I'm saying. But yeah, I've been diagnosed with so much shit. Little to no talent. I don't understand music theory at all. It might have to do with me. I can't do math properly either. I do have a disability in math. I have some kind of math disorder, so that's probably why I have issues doing, um, you know, music theory basically, because I don't memorize. Because I have no tabs for my music. I don't memorize my what are my notes like for Disorganized Disaster. What are the song tabs for that song? I don't know. I didn't memorize it. The reason why I didn't memorize it is because I can't read notes in general. I can't read sheet music. It's not that I'm tone deaf. I'm not tone deaf or anything. It's just I don't memorize what a G or an A or an E sounds like or whatever, an A sharp, whatever the fuck. I don't memorize it. It just doesn't click to me. It's I'm a it's kind of like computer science in a way. It doesn't make sense to me, even though I'm a furry, and most furries are computer programmers, and I don't relate to that. That's why I made a song about being a furry neat. I'm not in education, employment, or I'm not in education, employment, or training, but I'm a furry. I'm a different kind of furry, you know? So, little to no talent, yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time, you know what I mean? I just press random buttons and shit like that. So that's how I make my music. Um, I did say I made a video about how I don't understand music theory. I did say that sometimes I cheat by taking MIDI files of actual songs, but I manipulate it so much to the point to where it doesn't even sound like the original anymore. You know, it's kind of like taking someone's homework and I erase basically almost, if not everything, right? To where, I rearrange the notes, I add notes, I remove notes, I add I make so where like a song that could go, dan 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 dan. Like I'll just take that MIDI file that of someone else and I'll edit it and I'll fuck around with it so much, move the notes up higher or lower, now it sounds like it sounds like Yoko Ono. Like it doesn't sound anything like what it used to sound like anymore. That's what but usually I try not to do that. Usually I make shit from scratch and it can take minutes, an hour, a couple hours. There's some outsider music on this album that I'm showing you right now. Um, so yeah, I think I fit the bill for being an outsider musician. I have all the traits. I have little to no talent. I have childlike qualities. My voice is very childlike, even though I'm fucking 30 years old. I'm 30 years old and my voice still sounds youthful. My artwork is kind of like childlike in a way. I draw fucking cartoon characters on my album covers, you know what I mean? But the music itself could be like metal music, and I'm drawing fucking anime girls in cartoon. Even if they're not anime girls, like American style looking cartoons, like the music doesn't match the artwork sometimes. I don't know. So I have childlike qualities when it comes to that. I'm making sure that the microphone is working this time. I recorded 37 minutes of footage just to find out that there was no audio recorded. And the other file got corrupted or it was sped up by accident and I sounded like a fucking chipmunk. So hopefully this will go up. I don't know. But I have every single trait of being an outsider musician. The only trait that I don't have is lacking self-awareness. And I said to myself, if that really disqualifies me from being an outsider musician, that's pretty fucking ridiculous. Because you're going to tell me I have every single trait of being an outsider musician, but because I don't have that one trait of not being, like, you have to be unaware. That's stupid. That's stupid how just that one trait could possibly disqualify me. Because I don't know how I discovered this label. Outside of music, it's not a music genre. It's just a label for people, basically, in a nutshell. I should have probably explained this in the beginning of the video. But I didn't, because I was upset that I have to re-record this. If you click on this video, you should probably know what outside music is, because you probably searched this up. Unless you didn't search this up and it just popped in your news feed. But basically, yeah, I'm sorry to tell you the definition now, 7 minutes in the video. But outside music is basically for people where the music's not really good. Like, you're not really talented. You're just pressing buttons on your instruments. Or if you're like me, you don't even use real instruments. You just go in FL Studio and you're pressing random buttons. And a lot of outside musicians don't really get record deals or record labels. A lot of them are unsigned, or even if they are signed, they're not big. They're not big. There have been some outsider musicians that have broken the mold, like Daniel Johnston, Wesley Willis, and the Shags a little bit. But other than that, most outsider, and Corey Feldman, if you can count him as an outsider musician, but other than that, most of us just are in the hiding, you know what I mean? I don't make money off of my music because I'm on Social Security disability, and even if I wasn't, I would not make money. I don't care about money. There's a radio host guy, whatever, that has popularized, how you say it, the weird, wacky world of outside of, oops, hold on. Yeah, there's a show host or whatever guy that popularized this term. I was thinking about contacting him, but I went against it because to truly be an outsider, you don't want fame. And I went against contacting the radio guy that popularized this word because he's getting up there in the age anyways. He's getting too old. It's for... They ignore conventional music boundaries. I have an okay song structure. I do intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, then outro, or whatever. I don't know how I do it. You know, sorry, had to try. I had some dirt on my bed. I had to fix that. Self-taught. I'm a mix of self-taught and I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I self-taught myself how to sing and play instrumentals, but I don't memorize the notes. I don't work with Like singers are very odd because they can go hey, and they know within seconds what all of those notes are just by singing it. That's odd to me. When I sing, I don't give a fuck if that was a B C D E F L. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I base it off of how it sounds. And then yeah, whatever and whatever. That's just whatever. Yeah, I'm 30 years old. I have a very weird voice. I have a very childlike voice, and my artwork is very childlike, and my music sometimes sounds childlike, like Daniel Johnston. I have a few outsider songs that I've made. I Will Always Love You in the End, or something like that, is very outsider sounding. I know that sounds kind of like a John Daniel. It sounds kind of like a Daniel Johnston song. But I wasn't really. I was really trying to be myself in that song, vocally and instrumentally. Like I really was trying to sound like myself. It's not really common for me to sound like myself. I have too many influences. You know what I mean? Um, I do this weird. I've talked about this in my Weird Bands Part 3. I do this weird thing where I don't separate my song ideas. Like I make music as if three bands got together for a collaboration, and I already explained why I do that in my Weird Bands Part 3 video. But the reason why I do that is because I don't want to separate my music ideas. Why would I separate my music ideas? I would have twice as much, three times as much songs than I do now. That's ridiculous. Why would I separate 10 song ideas when I could probably combine two or three in one song, and then I can minimize, you know, I can reduce it down quicker, instead of making 10 fucking songs that sound like one genre or one band. Why do that when I could split it up or something? Add three influences in one song. Okay, 3, 6, 9, and then the last song could probably be one style. That's how I do my music. And I call it ADHD, call it whatever. That's why a lot of people compare me to Kim Dracula. But I've been doing my shit before Kim Dracula. No hate to Kim Dracula. I like Kim Dracula. I like what they do. But they do the same thing. Well, the next 1 minute they'll sound like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the next minute they'll sound like fucking ATC Pop or Jeffree Star or some kind of weird, or Falling in Reverse or something. I don't know why they do that, but I do what I do because I don't want to separate my music ideas. Also, I do it because I'm avant-garde experimental. That's why I'm kind of on the edge if I don't know if I'm an outsider musician or not. Because there's a difference between being an outsider musician, not knowing what you're doing, and intentionally breaking the rules, being avant-garde experimental. There's a difference. On one hand, I don't know what I'm doing, but on the other hand, sometimes I really am trying to be different and avant-garde and experimental, and I'm trying to be weird and different, and I'm trying to make very weird music, you know? And I tag that. I tag avant-garde, I tag experimental, you know? So I'm kind of in the gray area. But then I still am outsider musician. I still consider myself an outsider musician because even when I try to make the normalest music possible, it still sounds weird. Even a little 1% of the song, it still comes off as weird. Like the song Hookup, instrumentally it sounds mostly normal. Vocally, oh my god, it's very weird. I tried sounding normal, but it just ended up coming off weird. Very falsetto, feminine, and then I switch over to like mid-range singing. I don't know why I did that. I think it's because I didn't want to be feminine or masculine in the song. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to please the feminine people. I didn't want to please the masculine people only. I wanted to please both. If you're not into femboys, feminine boys, that's why I switched my voice in the song, in case you're interested in masculine men or average men. Or I also did it to be more relatable. Like, in case you don't have a feminine voice, I changed my voice to be more masculine or androgynous in case that's the voice that you have. I'm trying to change my voice to what you sound like as well. I have 3 octaves, which is half of Mike Patton's octaves. His is 6. I know I'm talking fast. I'm not manic. I just want to get this video very quickly done because this is like the 10th time I tried recording it and it got all fucked up. I'll probably review this video before uploading it again. But yeah, I have okay song structures. Daniel Johnston, he's okay. I relate to his music kind of, kind of. I'm not looking for love or anything, so I don't really relate to that. I'm very avoidant personality disorder, you know? I'm kind of scared of intimacy. I would love intimacy, but I'm very scared of it due to traumatic experiences and my mental issues and whatever. The Shags, someone said I was worse than the Shags. I don't know how that could be possible. Wesley Willis. Imagine a. I wish Wesley Willis was still alive. Could you? He would do amazing in FL Studio. You know, I love Wesley Willis, but to listen to a whole album of that shit, I can't do it. It's too repetitive instrumentally. I just can't do it. That's why I wish Wesley Willis was still alive. He would make amazing um, songs in FL Studio. You know, I'm kind of like Wesley Willis meets FL Studio kind of in a way because I don't play instruments. I use FL Studio. I place down these fucking notes. You know. And yeah. Am I an outside musician? Yes and no. Yes, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm self taught. Half of it, I really don't know what I'm doing, instrumentally or vocally. I have childlike qualities. I am aware though. So I don't know if that disqualifies me or not. That's stupid if it does disqualify me. I have no record label. I don't make money off of this shit. I still live with my parents. I make music on my. I record the vocals in my mom's fucking car, dude. It used to not be like that. It used to be in my bedroom, but I barely get home alone time to do it in my bedroom, you know. It's frustrating, you know. If I had a house to myself or a recording studio, and if I got vocal lessons and learning how to play guitar or piano, I think piano would probably playing a synthesizer or something would probably be easier than a guitar or drums or something. I would do great. But because of my mental issues and my living situation, it's just whatever. The cool thing about not having a record label is I can release my music whenever. I don't care about Spotify, Apple Music. I don't give a fuck if my music's bad or not. I think it sounds good, so I don't know. I don't care. I really don't give a fuck if people like my music or not, you know? This outside of a musician label is kind of like a safe haven for me because I could use it kind of as an excuse, kind of as a way, be like, oh, don't make fun of me. I'm an outside musician. You just don't get it, you know? Or I could say I'm avant-garde experimental. You just don't get it. So yeah, I think I'm just, to end the video, I think I'm just kind of both, if that's even possible. You know, I'm trying to break boundaries and mix genres together, and I try to sound like three bands in one or two bands in one. I try to sound like Tool meets Nine Inch Nails, or Nine Inch Nails meets Marilyn Manson, or Faith No More meets the Mars Volta, something weird like that, like or Mr. Bungle meets the Mars Volta, like, you know, I'm trying to make weird combinations and shit like that. Um, I think I'm subconsciously influenced by 10-second songs. I talked about that in my Weird Bands Part 3, but I think it's a I think that's why I genre hop a lot. Not just to because I don't want to separate my music ideas. It's not just that. It's also because I like what Anthony Vincent does. I really do like what he does, you know. Again, um I'm not influenced by Kim Dracula, but I appreciate what Kim Dracula does. Only recently have I been getting into Kim Dracula influences, like my song Chromosome 17 P13.3 duplication. I will admit I was a little bit influenced by them when I made that song. I was trying to sound like how they tried sounding like Korn and A Perfect Circle. I tried doing that as well. I tried sounding like Korn, A Perfect Circle, Toolish sounding, and then the bridge was kind of like Nine Inch Nails. You know, that's just how I do it. Those are my influences, dude. I've had a lot of friends that don't listen to my type of music. Some of them did, some of them did not. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. A lot of these people are not in my life anymore. Their music influences and their music tastes are their music tastes. I used to know somebody that didn't like Bauhaus and Faith No More, or didn't like that, and they didn't like Mars Volta. That's fine. Everyone has their own music tastes. I've met people that don't even know some of these bands, because they're too old or they're too young. And it is what it is. If you don't like Smashing Pumpkins, it's whatever. But these are my influences. They make me happy, just like symphonic music makes you happy, or funk music makes you happy, or psychedelic 60s music makes you happy, or disco, or whatever. This is what makes me happy. I don't care if you think my influences and my band tastes and my music tastes are terrible. I don't care. I don't care. This is the shit that I like. I love new metal. I love all kinds of metal, industrial metal, black metal. I like all kinds of rock, alternative rock, experimental rock, psychedelic rock, gothic rock. I'm mostly into gothic rock though. A lot of people are not really educated in goth music. A lot of people think it's Marilyn Manson. Goth music is. I like goth music. I like Fields of the Nephilim. I like Bauhaus. I like Sisters of Mercy. I like KMFDM industrial metal and Nine Inch Nails industrial rock. Industrial rock and Mr. Bungle, the Mars Volta, progressive rock, progressive metal. I like that. You know, I have a long list of bands. Deftones, you know, I'm just going off the list here. Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Korn, already said that. Slipknot, whatever. Disturbed, I don't know if I said that already. I love all these bands. Chevelle, um, I could just go on about these bands. A lot of these bands nowadays they're considered dad rock because I am older. It's very weird for me to say that now, that this is considered dad rock now. A lot of people my age have kids now. But I like older bands. I like Black Sabbath. You know what I mean? I like Led Zeppelin. I like Queen. Freddie Mercury is amazing. David Bowie, definitely David Bowie. Yeah, I could just go on. My voice, yeah, I had to train my voice to get deeper. It's very weird. I don't have a voice disorder to my knowledge, but my voice never truly deepened. It just never truly deepened. Even though I have facial hair, my voice just never like deepened for some weird reason. I don't know. I made songs, I tagged them as outsider music. Like on this album, I made a song about Wesley Willis. I made a song about Corey Feldman. I tagged outsider music because I don't know. And that's just, I like that music, and that's what I make, I think. And so, yeah, I had to train my voice to get deeper. I listened to a lot of Marilyn Manson, you know, um, you know, about the Dope Show, and stuff like that. And I listened to a lot of Mike Patton stuff, his later stuff. How he deepened his voice. Oh, huh. How he deepened his voice a little bit more. The Angel Dust era of. That's my favorite album. Angel Dust is my favorite Faith No More album. I like Mike Patton's nasally voice though. When I first heard Mike Patton's nasally voice in the song "Epic," and when I heard Smashing Pumpkins and David Bowie, I felt less alone. I felt less alone. Now, a lot of people could consider those voices to be kind of annoying, to sound like SpongeBob. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people can consider that annoying. I used to have a friend where I tried doing that kind of influenced voice in one of um, a song collaboration, and they didn't like it. They didn't get it. They didn't get why I did that. So I had to scrap it and sing the way that they wanted me to sing, which that's totally fine. But I sing nasally because, well, it's half intentional, half not. My voice truly is like naturally nasally falsetto, like Billy Corgan. Like a lot of it is completely unintentional. I don't realize I'm nasally until I play the audio afterwards, or I catch it in the moment in real time as I'm talking. on camera or even off camera. I just switch into a nasally voice for some reason. I really don't know why. Sometimes I'm aware, sometimes I'm not aware. My voice just kind of nasally. I don't know if it's because I'm Italian or whatever it is. I don't know. But so it's unintentionally in my music, but sometimes a lot of it is intentional. I think it's pretty obvious when it's intentional and when it's not. Like if it's exaggerated, you know what I mean? It's obviously intentional. Like the song Liar, where I go, even though I said I'm a liar. I don't know how the lyric went. Um, the song Liar, where I go, even though I said that I'm a liar, or I don't know how the lyric went. Even though I said I'm a liar, or whatever. Like even though like in that song, like I do that voice intentionally. Um, or Corey Feldman, because I miss so about Corey Feldman. I do that intentionally. Like if it's exaggerated to that high note level, it's exaggerated. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's kind of like mid range, kind of sounding, kind of like in a way. And I kind of like. But I'd say 99% of the time when I do the nasally voice, it's intentional. It's on purpose. Most of my vocals are on purpose. I'd say, you know what I mean. Deep, mid range, nasally, the high, yeah, which is very hard for me to do. The screaming, it's all intentional usually. I do it. I just have a Billy Corgan sounding voice. I don't know, whatever. Smashing Pumpkins voice. Even I'm not even that much influenced by them. That's the funny thing. But I kind of sing like this, like Deftones, and then I get a little nasally. But yeah, I have 3 octaves, which is half of Mike Patton's voice. I'm more about range. I don't. I'm not more. I'm not. I'm not too focused on perfection, like symphonic opera music. Like I'm not big into that. That's not my main focus of singing. I'm more about range. I care more about my range. You know, Tool is more focused on like melody and which I love that, but I care more about range in my voice and in music in general. Um, you know. So yeah, that's why I like Mike Patton. Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, and stuff like that. And the Mars Volta and stuff like that. The range is more important to me than the accuracy of if the voice sounds good or not, or if the accuracy of hitting on key or not. I don't care about that. Um, because I basically kind of do like voice acting in my music, kind of in a way. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna end this video. It's getting too long. I'm probably gonna listen back to this to make sure everything sounds okay. But that's just me. And so, am I an outsider musician? Yes and no. So basically, that's it. Will I make a part 2? Maybe, maybe not. There's a lot to say about this topic. Just to recap, um, reasons why I'm an outsider. Reasons why I'm not an outsider musician is because I am kind of aware, and I'm trying to be different, experimental, and avant-garde. That's why I'm not. But I am because I'm self-taught slash I don't know what I'm doing. Some stuff I don't know what I'm doing at all. I spend a very long period of time in FL Studio placing down notes. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing vocally either. I just try to mimic what other singers do, and I patch it together to make it my own kind of like, you know, I do kind of in a way take other vocalists' mannerisms. I will admit that. You know what I mean? Like what Kim Dracula does. He'll take other people's vocal mannerisms. I'll do that. I'll try to sound like Marilyn Manson, and then Tool, and then Mike Patton or Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins or David Bowie or Bauhaus or something. Um, and I'll usually patch it together in one song. But so yeah, I'm self-taught slash I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm childlike. My artwork is childlike. The music itself can sometimes match, the album artwork. Sometimes it doesn't. It's childlike. It's all childlike. I have mental issues which impact. I have a low IQ of 74. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I have intellectual problems. I have autism, kind of in a way. Not Asperger's, but I have schizophrenia spectrum. I have homocystinuria. I just have a lot of problems. So basically, yes and no. Basically,